Hello and welcome, or welcome back for another BLT. I'm sure you've all heard of oneness. If you've watched my last two videos, then you've already heard my insight. But for those that haven't, it is taking two things that oppose each other, and through unconditional love and acceptance of their individual existence, this naturally merges them together, becoming one thing. But how many of you out here can really understand the concept of this in our everyday lives? It has so much depth to it that it can be hard to grasp, especially for those who have not gone through a spiritual awakening. It is this awakening process that teaches us the depth and true meaning of this all-encompassing word. The word love gets tossed around so much. People think they understand and know it, but from what I've seen and experienced, humans have a very distorted idea of its meaning. Recently, my husband and I experienced something that I later recognized to be a great lesson and example for the meaning of oneness in an ordinary life experience. My husband came home from work one day and decided he wanted to act on an impulse he had. He calls it a good idea. I call it acting on a calling from his soul. He wanted to go to some growing supplies shops to promote our Easy Hempy growing bucket that we've been developing for years. We are both very passionate about practicality and self-sufficiency and reliance, and this includes plant medicine. We've experienced firsthand the healing powers of Gaia. For this reason, we've worked hard at developing our buckets. I felt on top of the world partnering with him. We bring out the absolute best in each other when our energies harmonize and vibe together. So off we went. The first pitch was fantastic. It was raw and from his heart. This pitch has so much potential to help our project get off the ground. The second pitch was even better. We were able to leave a bucket and got permission to promote their business, to help us gain customers. We left there elated. The third pitch was my idea. I knew it was risky, but I respected the growers of this business so much, and I was feeling powerful, like I could do anything. So I asked my husband if we could just give it a try. It was at a dispensary that I admired. They have a small grower supply section in the corner of their shop, and they also sell clones of all different sorts of plants, from plant medicine to herbs and vegetables. The owners are very passionate about Gaia's soil. They don't believe in feeding the plant alone, but rather feeding the soil to create a healthier, happier plant. They grow their plant medicine together with other plants like cloves to create a healthy ecosystem. I think that what they are doing is beautiful, and their product speaks for itself. To my amazement, one of the owners was there, and we began our pitch to him. I could immediately feel his resistance. His eyes glossed over. I could tell he was no longer listening, but instead judging. His energy began to flood the room and overtook our enthusiasm. We sensed his immediate defensiveness, like we went against everything he believed in. He began defending his growing style, educating us on his beliefs about feeding the soil and how passionate they are about it. He continued by showing us his method and why it works best for them. And of course, it all made sense to us. I knew we weren't there to change his well-developed growing style. We were there to attempt to add our small contribution for getting plant medicine and food out to the people, something that he could sell in his shop along with the other outsourced growing supplies in his little grower's corner of his shop. Something to pair with his clones and vegetable plants that he was also selling. He didn't ask any questions, didn't show any interest, and his energy remained very defensive. He treated us like we had insulted him with our hybrid growing system. He told us he wanted to bring education to the growers about how to develop the soil. But I saw no compact garden system of any sort for sale in his shop, nor any educational sources for developing the soil. So I remained confused at why he felt so defensive. We left there completely deflated, and I felt like a jerk. This wouldn't have happened if I didn't insist on going there. I assumed the owners were more open-minded because of their growing process. It was another hard lesson learned. At first, it was hard getting over this rejection. I didn't want to feel this feeling ever again. Who does? I sat with this feeling for a long time and asked what I needed to learn from it. And that's when I got my answer. It wasn't so much about learning from the rejection. I had been doing that all my life. I noticed a very valuable lesson about oneness in this experience. I suppose my first question should have been, what are your reasons for owning this business? He might have bluntly told me because it's a cash crop and he likes making lots of money. Then I'd be able to understand his reasons for being defensive. But for the sake of getting my point across, let's say he said it's because he shares in our passion for getting high quality, healthy, and natural medicine out to the people. And in this case, I'm all for education and using it to do what's best for Gaia, if you have the wisdom and the means to do so. But I think this is the very place where so many of humanity's problems stem from. This assumption that everyone has a desire for education, wisdom, and the mental capability of getting themselves out of any situation. Educated people seem to forget that we are talking about Earth here, where the poor and uneducated are procreating like rabbits, where fear has ransacked the entire globe. The unemployed, sick, depressed, drug-addicted, and homeless are growing at staggering rates, where the majority of the population could care less about the soil that their medicine or food is grown in. They are primarily concerned with getting something, anything inside of their bodies to lessen or entirely numb their pain. He owns a small but well-developed self-owned dispensary where he sells medicine to these people who use his medicine to treat their depression, anxiety, insomnia, chemo side effects, and other major illnesses and addictions. Are these the people he feels the need to educate about Gaia's soil health before their own? He could sell his beautiful clones to go along with our buckets. He could create a hydroponic nutrient for all growing mediums to be a healthy, nutrient-rich environment that feeds any plant. If he truly shares in this passion for getting natural medicine, Gaia's gift to humanity, out to the population who needs it most, then my husband and I's small contribution to the cause should not be a threat, but rather a supporting factor. Since he remained defensive, it suggests to me that he is primarily concerned with making a profit, which means getting his product out only to those who can afford his high-quality medicine, only to those who can shop organically, only to those who have the competence to appreciate what he's doing, which is a very small minority in this world. And if this is the case, which I suspect it is, this is positive too. He has every right to be a part of the much-needed and appreciated soil health matters. I do know that everything that is created is a result of the foundation it was created from. And without a healthy foundation, we cannot have a long-lasting, healthy creation. I know this because I pursued this knowledge, as did he. But sadly, we are still the minority. The majority are not aware of this yet. And those of us that have this knowledge do carry the responsibility to live in this example and teach what we know to those seeking it. I came to this understanding and acceptance entirely from this experience, so I have much gratitude for this lesson. However, there's still this persistent nagging tension in my heart because it still goes against oneness, especially when it comes to medicine, food, and mental health. These are not luxury items for the educated and wealthy. These are necessities for the entire human race. And therefore, the educated and wealthy should be doing everything within their means to get these out to all people. And it's this contradiction I see everywhere that I go that makes me angry. Because the disguised, between the lines truth is greed. Anyone who has a true passion for getting natural medicine to those who need it, or food out to the hungry, would be completely open-minded, open-hearted, and enthusiastic about different ways and ideas of doing so. My husband and I are enthusiastic about oneness, the inclusion of all. We strive for balance in all things. So when we discovered this new growing style and developed our Easy Hempy bucket, it was perfect for us because it was a hybrid style, taking two well-known and completely opposite ideas and combining them into one. We fell in love with this idea of combining a lot of Gaia with a little bit of plastics and synthetics, because this is what oneness means. This is what oneness represents. Using the powers of our humanness, unconditional love and acceptance of the existence of negativity to create balance using both good and bad, both light and dark. We developed a way for every body to grow both medicine and food in our buckets. It costs the same as soil, and you can use natural light from Gaia or artificial light in any room. It represents balance in the most beautiful, raw, and natural of ways. Both the rich and the poor can use it, both the organic grower and the synthetic nutrient indoor growers. You can grow on an apartment balcony, in a small kitchen, in a closet, shed, or a giant warehouse. It can be used the day you get it or 10 plus years from that day. After I sat with this experience I had with the dispensary owner, I felt this fire in my energetic system. Although he did not support our invention or our cause, he did give me the fuel to ignite my soul's passion to write what I know about oneness. Nothing and no one is excluded from unconditional love and acceptance. That's what I promote here with the Ugly Duckling 1111. Balance, love, and truth. I'm a farmer of the highest kind. I sow seeds in the minds and hearts of all that are sleeping. So if they choose to awaken, they contain the seed to begin growing whenever they feel ready. All these seeds will need is light, water, and patience. This greed runs so deeply in the systems and functions of our everyday life experiences. The solution lies within each of us, individually, not by changing the systems, but by changing ourselves on the micro level, by deconstructing our beliefs and looking for the truth of why we act a certain way, think a certain way, feel a certain way, and want for who and what. I see positive changes in our society already. Most were open to our new idea. One was not. I hope someday he sees the value in including all sorts of different minds and hearts into getting Gaia's medicine out to the people. But like most people, he'd have to expand his thinking and open his heart to the idea first. And that is his free will to do so, or not. Just as it is all of yours. Peace and love.